Hey everyone, I'm back. I was hoping to try and link this video to my brush video. We'll see if that actually happens. If you're seeing them together, I did it. But anyway, I wanted to show you some additional things that I purchased for my paintbrushes and how I was storing them before. I was using this particular container, and it is a makeup brush holder. And you can see I like this because I don't do a lot of painting with my brushes, so to keep the dust out, and you can kind of see it's dusty, I like this sort of lid that opens like this. So you would have your brushes in here or anything that you want to keep the dust off of, and you can just easily access them this way. Now I've replaced this because of the new brushes that I did purchase, and I wanted to keep them more organized even. Just a note, there's other types, I got this on Amazon, but there are other types like this where you can actually remove the lid. But then you have to like keep them all like contained while you put the lid on, and that's a whole nother issue that I don't like either. So I like this type of opening because you don't necessarily have to do that. You could just push the brushes to the back, make sure they're standing up and away from the opening, and then close it, right? So that's what I prefer, to not have to struggle with to keep them all contained in there. So I also have some larger brushes in here because these do not fit. They're taller brushes, and I actually don't use these very often. I bought these sort of thinking that I would need a larger, brush. And of course, when you're doing stuff, actually in the mode of doing or creating, you don't want to have to stop because you don't have the tools you need. So I went ahead and had purchased these larger brushes that actually don't fit in any of the holders I have. They fit in these. And this is actually a silver brush zip pocket. It has like a little handle on it. And there are two silver brushes in here. And these two, I don't remember where I purchased these from, but I'm sure they're in a haul video somewhere. But they're a lot fatter, and they have different types of ferrules. So anyway, that's one of the ones I have. And I actually have another one that is now empty of brushes because I was able to put them in the new container I'm going to show you. And this I use for my travel brushes. So if I go anywhere, I just put them in here. And I think this was a pen pouch that I got with some sort of product, maybe. Because I know I didn't buy it specifically, and of course I don't remember the brand that I got this from, but I think it's pretty cool either way. So I keep my travel brushes in here because they fit down in there really nicely if I'm going to need them for anything, and it keeps them together. So for the brushes, this is my new purchase, and it's a little tall, right? I think this is over 10 inches tall, I believe. So if you're looking for storage for paintbrushes, okay, the top stops around 9.5, I would say, just to give you a bit of an idea of what types of brushes would fit in here. So yeah, 9.5 inches, I would safely give you that. Okay. So maybe a little bit more, 9 3/4. I don't know. So you can see here, there's a whole bunch of brushes in here, but the difference between this one and the old one is there is a, and this is made for makeup brushes too, and I did get it off of Amazon. I think it was less than $20 because it was on sale at the time. So when you open it, it's the same sort of deal. It's the side opening. Again, I don't like the thing where you have to pull the top off, because then you have to hold them close. You have to hold them close together and then put the top on. So rather than try and wrangle them, I'd rather just open them like this. Okay. So now this is open, and it has a little spinning divided caddy inside of it that holds the brushes in place. And there's several, and they're different heights. Okay. So I do want to mention that because these are made for makeup brushes, it's the same type of idea, right? You have some taller brushes and you have some shorter brushes. Well, when you have shorter brushes, you don't want them getting lost down into whatever pocket of whatever you're dealing with is. So you can see here, I've got some travel brushes down here because you could tell they're shorter, right? I have this is a Tintoretto, and then some silver brush, travel brushes that I also have purchased, and they should probably be facing the other direction because the numbers are on the top side. So this is a 6, an 8, and a 4 and a 2. So you can kind of see, can you see down there? You can't see down in there. But I've also included some of my snap brushes because I only have 4 that are in that little cubby. But with the height of the brushes, this particular cubby is a little bit more shallow than, say, the one next to it. So if I put this brush in there, it comes up a lot higher. But if I put it down in here, it's a lot shorter. And I know you can't see that because I've got it from the top, the view of the camera from the top. But it only peeks out maybe a centimeter or half a centimeter from the top of this thing right here. But if I put it into the one next to it, it's about an inch peeking over the top. So there are different heights in the cubbies for shorter items that you don't want to get lost down in the pocket. So okay, so I do like organization, and I like things to be able to find things in a certain place. And so you can see that this allows me to sort of organize the brushes by, say, a specific set, which, you know, here's my snap brushes, Princeton snap brushes. And then this is the 2 wash specialty brushes that I purchased from Craft Ammo. And then I've got some more specialty brushes in here. These are all watercolor. There's some fine detail ones. There's this silver brush that's an inch wide wash brush. In the center, there's even a little holder in the center. You can't see it very well because of, whoops, sorry, hit the camera, because of this thing, the little knob that you can carry it by. These are some taller brushes in here in the center section. And so if I pull it out, this brush is an oval snap brush, which I didn't put in that other cubby because it's too tall. It will not fit. And so this brush is 8 1/4 inches. So I've got it in this little center cubby, which you can't see the little organization thing that's inside that rotates around. It keeps taller brushes in the center. So I just wanted to share that with you if you're looking for something that will protect and keep your brushes from dusty. Now that I'm closing it, and if you've got anything sticking out, all you got to do is do that a little bit and they go right in there. It's not fighting with the whole thing, keeping them all together and then putting the lid down on top. So I thought that was really nice. And then of course it keeps the dust out of the brushes. And I only put them in here when they're dry. I don't put them in here when they're wet because you don't want any sort of moisture inside here with the brushes. So that is my paintbrush holder. Other things I purchased, this is a little mixer, and actually this is made for, like, you know, whipping up things in the kitchen. But I purchased this. It has 2 little, I don't think I have it with me. It has 2 little changeable heads. This is the smaller of the heads. And I bought this to mix my wash up if it dries out. And it's battery operated. So I thought this was a better way than, say, using toothpicks, which are disposable, because this you can just clean off with a napkin or a wet towel and use it over and over again, as opposed to, toothpicks, which are disposable, but at the same time, it's a resource that you just throw away. It's one-time use. So this to me was more economical, and it didn't cost me that much. I think it was $7 or $8 on Amazon. And you just have to add 2 batteries to it, which I have not done yet. So I haven't ever even turned it on. I don't know how strong it is. I don't think it actually was advertised to some. I was reading the reviews, for this particular item to see if other people are using it for their gouache, and they are. And so I don't think it's as strong as something that would make the paint come out of the cups, because the gouache set that I have is in cups, right? So I just wanted to mention that. I got this to mix up those paints. If it is, you can also just do it by hand, right? You can use this by hand. So that wasn't the idea, but that's what this is for, because it spins around. The last thing I got is this Dorland's Wax Medium. This is actually for sealing in your watercolor, gouache, and acrylics and oils for waterproofing, so you can't reactivate it. I actually think this is the same product as this, which is the Distress Micro Glaze from Tim Holtz. It's not the same color, is it? Not exactly. This is the same type of deal because you use this over your Distress Oxides or your Distress ink, and it will basically seal it in, and you can't reactivate the ink again. So, but nothing will stick to it either. So if you are actually using this on like an envelope, your stamp will not stick down. So make sure you put your stamp down first before you use this over anything. If you're using it on something you're sending through the mail, that's just a tip. But this probably is way more economical than this if you're ever thinking about buying something to perhaps seal in your watercolor or inks that could be reactivated by water or moisture. So, because this is actually made in California, which is made in the USA. I don't know if this one is. Yeah, it is. So maybe it's the same company. I don't know. Or maybe Ranger makes it. Who knows? So anyway, I just thought I'd share with you this. I got this off of Amazon as well. And I think that is it for now. Oh, one more thing. Let me just move this around because I bought, this is a silicone mat that you use for baking. It is food safe. So like if you were rolling out dough, there's like a sticky side that kind of sticks to your countertop. And it was much bigger. I cut it. Okay, and you can see the air bubbles there. It's something you can clean off over and over again. But what I intended for this, to use this for, and these are the remnants of the bigger piece that I cut down. I intended to use this for, and I am using this for my Hemi gouache. Okay. Once I open all the cups, which they are not open yet, because I'm not ready to go there, you will have all of these open cups here, and the only thing that is keeping them from drying out is you and maybe, proper care, which is adding, a spray of something in there. So what I have done is also added that silicone layer inside this container. So that's why you don't see the cups. Okay. So I've got it laid out in there. I cut it down with a mat knife, a box cutter. And so once I open the gouache, it's still going to start, being exposed to the air. But this I thought would help keep some of the moisture in. And it's also something you can wash. So if it gets all, if the paint starts to spread out, I can also wash it off and let it dry and then put it back on. And so the only thing, because there's no silicone seal around this lid, and the only thing in here is this foam. So I thought that would help as an additional layer to help keep that air from flowing to the cups once they're open. I need to swatch this set too. So that's another thing I got. Oh, 1 second. So the other thing I was able to purchase, and this is something I found on a secondhand market, is this Jane Davenport Traveler's Notebook. She put these out through Michael's a couple years back. And I never purchased this one because I was kind of like hedging. I was like, do I really like this one? I like these other two better. These are the two that because they have blue. And so I use these for my swatch books for, this is sort of like your watercolor or water-based mediums here in this particular book. And then this one is colored pencils only. Well, yeah, colored pencils only. So that is what is in each of these now. And I have made my own inserts to do my swatching for these. And then this one, which I purchased, this is a different cover, right? I was able to purchase this particular notebook cover. The actual plastic cover came from a different seller, but I used both Poshmark and Mercari, I believe. No, Amazon. Amazon actually had the plastic sleeve for this. You see the little drawing on the cover. Same with these plastic covers. Amazon there was a seller that actually had these still. But the notebook cover with the 3 girls on it, I wanted to protect it just to keep, ink off of it. The seller had this book, these folders, as well as a pouch for sale at a reasonable price. It wasn't the best price because I know that they went on clearance. These went on clearance. In new condition, never used. So I picked up this lot so that I could use this book for my gouache media or paint media. So I'm gonna do my swatches in here, and I've already started this Traveler's Notebook insert. This is one I had purchased from Michael's some time ago and never used. I found it. And I used Jane Davenport's stencil. Here it is. I don't know if you can see it. The stencil here that she also sold through Michael's to do my squares. I just drew them in with a pigment pen, a Micron. I don't know if oh yeah. One of these pens, which is archival and also waterproof, so it won't be reactivated by the paint. I used this particular set right here, this 8 combo here, and just drew in the squares. Now, they're not perfect, and I don't care if it is or not. I'm going to do them this way because I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7, what do you call it? Cups, in my Himi gouache that I just showed you. They're laid out in rows, in columns of 7. So going this way will go across the actual tray. So, and I've done enough squares for 112 colors. Now you're probably wondering, what is this gap in between that you have? Because they're not all lined up like this one is. Now, I intentionally did that because I just can't be normal. And I'm going to use she has these rub-ons in her style that are all colorful, like this. She has like all these rub-ons, which I have already. And I'm going to use them to sort of break up the, monotony of the color swatch chart. So if you're wondering why those gaps are in there, that's what they're for, because I'm going to put a rub-on down in here and in other places where you saw those gaps, because they're kind of small. And then I will probably also do something like, let's see where it was. Put this folder around it before I put it in the notebook, because that'll help protect the actual cover and it won't get all munged up. This is the center of the book. So I do have room for more swatching in here. And I chose not to go on this side of the page for my swatches, just in case the gouache makes the page buckle too much. I didn't want it to be a problem. And also all the black ink and stuff like that, I didn't want it to cause any problems later on while I'm swatching that would ruin the book. So I just played it safe and just did one page over here. And I can, of course, you know, later on decide to reuse it. But there's more pages in here. And, you know, with a traveler's notebook, you can actually put in additional notebooks. You can put like 4 inserts in here, maybe 6, if you can figure out how to do it. Now, you can restring. I have additional stretchy cord. You can restring this to add 2 more cords on here, and then you would really be able to add in a number of notebooks. It depends on how thick they are, because of course you don't want this to be like too bulky where there's not enough room in here to add more inserts. So I don't think I'll have too much in here, but this is the little card that Hemi gives you when you purchase it. I just cut it down, and I'm going to use this for my swatching. I'm going to actually tape this to the top of my set, so I'll always have it. It actually does fit on the cover. I cut it down so that it would fit to the cover, and so I'll always have this as well. Not that I'll need it, because the paint swatches as they dry are much better to use for coloring, or trying to color match, I should say. So that's another thing I purchased. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.